Welcome to Breaking Big, where we interview people about their careers in the entertainment industry. I'm your host, Erin Neumeyer. Everyone here at Thunder Tally Media is so excited to announce that we are being featured on the Hoo Ha Ha app under the Podcast We Love section. They are on a mission to spotlight and support women in comedy. One of the ways they do that is by amplifying women's voices, like this podcast. If you haven't already, go check out the hoohaha.com website. There's so much great content there. That's where you'll find my podcast and all the other shows featured under the Podcast We Love section. And now I'd like to welcome you to Breaking Big. This is the one with Tara Tovarek. Hi, Tara.
Hi, thank you for having me. What a flattering.
Well, let me introduce you first. Let's see. You've had quite an interesting career so far. Tara Tovarek founded and ran a successful theater production company before moving from Atlanta to Los Angeles. Then she started as an assistant to A-listers such as Harrison Ford and Sugar Ray Leonard. Then she went on to work in Budapest. Am I saying that right? Budapest?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
On A Good Day to Die Hard. How awesome. And then to Montreal for the X-Men Days of Future Past. She's worked with some of the industry's top directors and producers, including Spike Lee, Walter Hill, and Robert Lawrence. Recently, Tara has been the UPM on films like Running with the Devil and Deadly Illusions with Kristen Davis and Dermot Mulroney, which was #1 on Netflix forever. I don't know how many weeks, but it was a long time. And the soon-to-be-released Dead for a Dollar, starring Christopher Waltz, Willem Dafoe, and Rachel Brosnahan. Wow. Hi, Tara. Thanks so much, Tara. Thanks so much for being on our show.
Well, you make me sound incredible. I'm grateful. Thank you very much.
You are incredible. I mean, gosh, I was scrolling through your IMDb just the other day, and I'm just, wow, you've done so much. It's fantastic. So how did you get your start in the entertainment industry?
Let's see. So in high school, I had this photography class, and I had an instructor. His name was Mr. Parkinson, and he really liked my photography. He was so encouraging to me. And he said, you probably have a good eye for film. And there was another student from a little high school in Iowa who moved on to Atlanta to become a camera operator. And he said, I think you should give this guy a call. So I called that guy. He told me to come to Atlanta. He and his wife put me up, and they got me a job working in a warehouse, building 4-wire banded, loading trucks, understanding gear. And that's kind of how it started. How I got here, I don't know. I just kept showing up, but that's how it began. Random.
Wow, that's amazing. So you moved to Atlanta without really knowing anybody there, or?
I didn't know a soul. I went purely because I didn't want to go to LA. I don't remember at the time why. Maybe it just seemed not my bag, I guess, and I was 21 and just started loading trucks and working in commercials and meeting people. So yeah, I didn't know a soul. Mm-hmm. I think one of my first gigs at that company was the Olympics. It was 1996. So I ran a lot of 2-aught, which is heavy. I don't know if I could do that anymore.
When you're 21, like, you can lift everything. If you're moving, you just carry your own stuff in and out of your house. But then, now that I'm a little older, like, we hire the moving people to, like.
Oh my God! Right? Yeah, absolutely. I
should be like, refrigerator. I can carry that.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
So, wow, that's cool. Do you still keep in touch with those folks?
Every now and then I get lucky that I might get a call about something in Atlanta, or, I do randomly keep in touch with them, and I'm grateful. My core girlfriends are in Atlanta, and that I started out as a kid with. So I guess I'll say yes, I absolutely do.
Yeah. I just went to Atlanta for the first time. My sister got married there, and kind of in the mountains. It was really beautiful. But we had to do this whole drive around the downtown area of Atlanta because my son's really into architecture. Okay. And apparently there's like some super cool buildings in downtown Atlanta. I wish I could remember the names of them. He would probably scold me.
Atlanta's changed. When I was there, I thought of it as a big city in the woods, which it still is. But there's so much traffic. I think that's why I left. But then I moved to LA. So who am I talking about with traffic?
Yeah. So when you moved to LA, what kinds of jobs did you start getting then?
I was married at that time, and my husband and I had agreed to 5 years in Atlanta, and he had his 5 years in Atlanta. I was like, okay, let's move to New York or LA. And I said, sure, that sounds great. I'm in my 20s. I'll get a job in 2 weeks. And I sure as shit did. I got a job coordinating. It's so funny. When you put your mind to something, it just happens. I was coordinating the second unit of Daredevil, the first one with Ben Affleck.
Oh, yeah.
It's because of that job. I got hired by a beautiful woman, inside and out, Sarah White. She's a little producer now, line producer then. And she put me on that show. And because of that show, that's how I started working for Harrison Ford. Someone on the crew said, you'd be great to work with this guy. And I turned that job down like 3-4 times. I'm like, I don't want to work for an actor. That's not why I'm here. I want to be an artist. And that second job happened because I saw him on 2020 doing an interview about Conservation International and all the work he does to to save the world. I thought, you know what? I want to work for that guy. I'll call him on Monday. And my husband at that time, he was like, you've been turning that job down. I'm sure it's already gone. Well, they called me on Tuesday and I got that job. So anyway, it just kind of kept pushing me forward. Maybe I'm just real lucky. I don't know.
Well, no, I think that you bring up a good point. I feel like we have this idea that, we missed our chance, it's too late for that. But if you just get over that feeling and then make the phone call, you don't know what opportunity might be out there. And so the fact that you were just like, what? I'm just going to call him, It's amazing, right? Just picking up the phone, what that can do for you.
Yeah, not being afraid to fail or be told no. I mean, I don't know how many times I've been rejected or not selected or even let go because I wasn't the right fit on that team, because it's really about being a puzzle piece that can work out for that project or that person. So yeah, absolutely. Do not be afraid to fail. I just kept showing up every day.
Yeah, I've had the same thing happen to me a few times where I was like, oh boy, I sent them this thing to read. And that was like 3 months ago. They probably forgotten about me. But then one day you wake up and you just kind of have that, that fire and you're like, I'm just calling.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
something good always happens when you do that. So I know you've been, you kind of fell into producing, and I've interviewed a couple other people that do various different levels of production, but I thought you might be a good person to actually kind of define a few of the different roles, because when you say producer, it just means like a million things. So, but I know you were saying you're doing more like UPM, and there's like line producing, executive producing, developing producer. You know what I mean? So like, if you wouldn't mind just kind of giving a quick overview of production jobs.
I hope I do this right. Okay. So when I was working in advertising as a producer, it was more of like an in-between person between the creatives on set, like the director and the talent, and then keeping the agency happy, which I could define the same as if you're going to do a studio or an independent movie. As the producer, you're there to make sure that the director, the cast, all those people above the line are content and being handled. And then also the money people or the studio, you're the channel, you're the facilitator between what's going to happen and making that move. Line producer, I think the budget is built with lines. So you are managing the lines and making sure the project stays on point. I think in TV and film, executive producer mean different things. In film, I tend to understand executive producing means you're bringing in cast or you're bringing in some money, and there's some kind of financial element that you're tying in there. That's not to say I'm sure people get credit for other reasons, but that's how I understand it to be. And oftentimes I'm often just finding what they need of me. And then I imagine many producers do the same thing. Like, well, I've done this in the past, but really on this project, they're needing a person to mitigate, handle, make happen this. So I'm a producer doing this other, I don't know. You can
Yeah, I
read.
know
You can read the
someone we know in
technical terms.
common, Mimi has done, Mimi Rose Hall. She's worked on TV, on reality TV shows, and there she's been more of like, I guess, maybe more of like a production coordinator, but it sounds like there she's the type of producing is like fires, like putting the fires out,
Oh my
know,
God,
or
right?
like whatever needs to get done. Yeah.
My mom came to visit set once, and she's like, you literally take 2 steps and someone's talking to you about a problem, and you just figure out how to solve that problem in those 2 steps, and then you move 2 more steps and there's another person. And absolutely, you're
Mm-hmm.
making sure the machine's running, that's
Mm-hmm.
your job.
Yeah. And I think you have to just have this like like ability to deal with lots of different personalities.
Yes.
You never know who is coming at you.
Oh, and you can't ever take it personal because you don't know where they're coming from. And for that person, whatever department it is or whomever it is, it's very important in that moment. And you have to handle it in such a way that they feel heard and safe. Like, okay, let's go figure this out together. Right.
Mm-hmm. So would you say the UPM, I think it's is that unit production manager? Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Now, that is the same term in film and TV, or is that one of the ones that's different if it's television?
It's the same. It's the same. And then that job for me can vary in that maybe I do all the hiring, all the time cards, all the management, making sure all the gear, the people are there, and managing those bits and bobs. You're just making sure the machine runs. I could try to liken it to an hourglass. So up here on the top, you've got writers, creatives, the financial part, the studio, and then the UPM or the line producer is like the fulcrum, right in the middle. And all that sand has to pass through you, and you do all the hiring and you run that show and make sure it happens on time.
You really probably, like, aside from the director, you're probably the person that comes into contact with the most number of departments.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's right.
So when do you get brought in on a project?
It depends. It depends on what I'm doing. I have a few projects right now that you'll see like in pre-production or what have you. That means that they're talking with me about making them a temporary schedule to help settle the budget so they can be financed and move into production. Mm-hmm. Or if I'm just being hired as a UPM, that's a big job. If I'm being hired as a UPM, I do come on very early with the line producer in, they call it soft prep or what have you. Like I come in very early to crew up, to help find locations, to get the union, become SAG, become signatory, become IATSE, get agreements in place, get insurance.
There's a lot of like contracts with all of the paperwork, filing with all of the different organizations.
Oh my gosh, I've tried to avoid contracts and math my whole life, and that's all I do. That's all I do. It's so funny. Be careful what you wish for.
I will tell you, like when I have to do the contract stuff for my photography business, it is the part that I'm always putting it off. But it's the thing that I'm so glad that I have in place at the end of the day. Because then if there's a question or anything, I can just like point to that paper.
It's written down. It is factual. You can look at it and go, yes, this is what we agreed to. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, like, when are you done then? Like, if you're basically one of the first hires in some cases, and then are you there until the beautiful end, or?
It depends. So, as UPM, I'm not usually kept after principal photography wraps, maybe 2 to 4 weeks afterwards to close accounts, make sure payroll's correct, close up contracts, things like that. As line producer, I can be on through post, because you're carrying all that money. We are responsible for, making sure all those pennies make it and that movie makes it to the big screen. So I can be on until the end. It just depends.
What do you prefer? Like, do you like to have like a project because it seems like if you're wrapping up at the end of production, I mean, production can be a few weeks to like a few months usually, but like if you're through post, I mean, that could be like 2 years.
Yeah, totally. That's so true. It really, it doesn't matter to me either way. Honestly, I'm just grateful that people call me. I recently got an agent, but my career has been by word of mouth. And so I'm just flattered when the phone rings and they want to work with me. I'm like, you want to work with me? Oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you. You want me for how long? Sounds great. I'll totally do that.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm
know
just
from experience from calling you that is exactly how you're like, okay, what do you need? Okay, all right. Let me check my calendar. Yeah, I can do that.
totally do that. That sounds great. Tara, I heard that you know where to find zebras. I actually do know where to find zebras. I will totally help you. You know what I mean? Or whatever they're looking for.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I guess we kind of talked about this, like, this podcast, we deal a lot with, the career aspect of working in the business, how you make your way from, point A to point Z could be lots of different steps along the way. So, I'm wondering, you've had a lot of character traits that you've brought up, but what do you think makes a really good producer?
I think being open-minded, to be honest. Each project I learn something new, or something comes up and I'm like, never had that before. Let's figure that out. I think the ability to adapt and it really, well, you got to like people. If you don't like people, you're in the wrong business because it's all about people. And I think the adaptability to listen, and solve that problem is probably key,
I think if you're going to be in the film industry, you have to like people. I know like there are some departments where you might think, oh, you don't really need to like people, but it's such a team environment,
It is. And if there's a team member that doesn't like you, or there's a team member that you're struggling to work with, all I really have to remember is it's a short-term gig, whether it's, 2 weeks to 2 years, it's not forever. And you just do the best you can. I think that's why I think people who do team sports are really good at movies because they understand their role and that everybody on the team is necessary,
Mm-hmm. So, you're so positive, so I don't know if you're going to be able to identify anything that drives you crazy, but I'm just wondering if there is something that if you could, change, or there's something that makes you crazy on set.
I grew up in film, so it was selective. Not everybody could make a project because fiscally, film was expensive. And one of the things that has been a blessing and a curse, I think, is digital. Digital is awesome in that everybody can make their dream, which is amazing. But sometimes I struggle when there's no hierarchy, when everybody is a boss or wants to be the boss. It's like, well, there is a chain of command, and what drives me crazy sometimes is are people who don't respect that role, or what that person is supposed to be in charge of, or the final say so. You know what I mean? That kind of drives me nuts. And I don't like screamers. I don't really like working with people who love to yell at me. It's like, hey, I'm pretty adaptable. You don't have to hand me my ass every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, I hear you. I've been on sets like that, and I just don't understand why. Like, it just puts everybody on edge, and it certainly, you might feel like you're making everybody like walk a little faster or have more purpose or something, but instead everybody's like a little like, should I take a step or not? Or like,
this is about relationships, and nobody likes to be in an abusive relationship. So screamers are tough for me.
Yeah, that's true. So and you've been on so many different sets. I'm wondering, like, what's been like the most insane day on set where you just can't believe that you made your day?
I don't know, but I can say that I'm always amazed when I'm out on set and that machine is running. And this little thing that you and I talked about way in the beginning, it was a sentence, it was a thought, and you tell me you want something, and we go hire someone, or we go get that one piece. And now you go out there and that whole machine is moving. That, to me, maybe every day is insane and I just don't know it anymore. But but that to me is magic. Like, when that machine is running, it fascinates me. And to know that I was a part of it, or am a part of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. It's just, I know you've worked on so many different kinds of movies. Like, like A Good Day to Die Hard, massive action film, the X-Men, again, like action, but also like sci-fi. And then I know you did a Western not that long ago. So then you have like
Western.
animal wrangling,
Yeah, we wrapped right before Rust. So Rust for me it's none of my business what happened. That's a whole different conversation. But Rust for me really hit me hard in that mistakes happen. Mistakes always happen. That's a big mistake. But I literally just wrapped a Western, and we had, guns and actors, and, that was a tough one. That was a tough one for me. I will think, okay, I just thought of my most insane day. So we were on A Good Day to Die Hard, and we're out there in this night shoot, and they put the building on fire, and they had a helicopter for the stunt guys to run to get on, like they're escaping the burning fire. And I'm watching it on the monitor, and I'm like, I go find a producer, and I'm like, I believe that the helicopter's setting that building on fire. They're like, yeah, the building's supposed to be on fire. I go, no, really on fire. And it did go on fire. Math, if you put a helicopter with big propellers too close to a burning building, yes, you will put that building on fire. So that was probably my most insane day.
Wow.
I've never had that before. Everyone was safe. It all worked out fine. The movie came out great, made tons of money. What a blessing to work with Bruce Willis. But yeah, that was an insane day. No, really, the building is on fire.
That's the thing, right? It's like, here you are, you're a cog in the machine, and everybody's so focused on their thing, but still you have to feel confident enough to say, hi, I know that like my department isn't burning buildings,
right,
but I think we might have something that's happening here.
And I was an assistant or something to the producers or something like that. So I was just a secretary, yes, and how high. And sometimes that could be nerve-wracking, and that's not really my job, but I can see the fire. Right? So I'm like, okay.
But what a great production that they like heard you. You know what I mean? They weren't just like, hey, you're not the director.
Right.
Why are you talking? You know what I mean? Like,
totally. Yeah. Safety.
Because I've definitely been in situations like that where I'm like, hey, I noticed that this thing that you probably didn't want to happen was happening. And they're just like, yeah. And then later, somebody's like, oh, now I know what you meant. And
yes.
It's too late to
and being female too. There's a lot of great women that work in this industry, but in my experience, because I happened before the Me Too movement, a lot of times I wasn't heard, because I'm one of the boys,
Yeah, well, speaking of the Me Too movement, I think like I was just looking something up about that. I didn't realize that didn't write down her name, but there's a gal that actually was like one of the first people to kind of use the hashtag Me Too, and that was like in 2006. But then, when Alyssa Milano got on board and she started using it as the tag, it was like 2016. So it's only been how many years is that? Like 5-ish, a little more than that years since I really became aware of the movement. And I'm just wondering, you've been, this has been, you've definitely are, up there in your career during that time. I'm wondering if you've been able to see any effects.
I will say the push for diversity and more women is prevalent. Again, digital media really made that possible. Sometimes guys will say something to me like, "Well, you really got a chip on your shoulder about, guys and being a girl and how hard it is." And I'm like, look around. There's maybe 20% of us that are identifying as female or, born female or what have you. And I'm grateful for that Me Too movement. Am I grateful for the cancel culture? Probably not, but I think it'll find its balance. The pendulum will find its middle, I hope. And I'm really grateful for it. If it wasn't for digital and probably the Me Too movement, I probably would never been beyond a coordinator, to be honest. I was a cute kid, and everybody liked me to be their secretary, smart, solve problems, so I'm very grateful for Me Too. I hope more people who are of color or in the minority or female find
Or differently abled.
or differently able. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Find that there's a welcome to them or a welcome to us, and put your movie out there. More people with disabilities are on camera now. More, I don't know. It's a more of a beautiful salad out there than there used to be.
I agree. Like, we don't just want lettuce in our salad. Come on.
Boring and no
Seriously.
yeah.
So I asked you about your most insane day on set, but like, what's your best day?
I think this is gonna sound so corny. Every day that we wrap without an injury, that we have made the day, even if we haven't made the day, but we make a day and people get home safe and everyone's got their fingers and toes. I find that to be a great day, honestly. What we do, we move so fast. We've got big equipment, we've got critters, we've got thousands of moving pieces. I think every day that everybody's okay and we show up the next day, I think that's a great day. Honestly.
Well, I didn't find that cheesy at all. I think you couldn't be more right on the money there. Like, so many things. I mean, I've seen so many things go, like, boy, I was on an indie film right before the new year, and we had this nice little video village all set up, and I was actually gaffing. So it was kind of fun.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really fun. And, but it was an indie film, and like when you're on one of those projects, the lines between the departments aren't quite so clear. Okay. And so somebody had moved the video village just like 2 feet to the right, which, without talking to our department. And then a gust of wind came up and the flag started falling down. And, the script supervisor got hit in the forehead with the flag.
Oh, no.
And, it's heavy. They're metal. They're on a big C-stand. And, it's just like, and, our department got chewed out nicely. It was a very nice chewing. I just didn't feel like we deserved it because someone else had moved the stuff and they're like, it doesn't matter. Your department is supposed to be the ones moving it. You're supposed to make sure everything's double sandbagged because it's windy. And yeah, and that was like a minor thing. I mean, there's
so much. Yeah. Finger pointing is tough because we are a team, and I'm sorry that happened to you because
yeah, no, and at the end of the day, I was like, look, I understand, I get it. We all had to hear the message, whether I'm the one that moved the thing or someone else moved the thing. Everybody clearly needed to hear the message again.
There. Okay. Well, I'm glad everybody's okay.
Yeah.
The wind is what it is. Out here in New Mexico, the wind is wicked. I mean, our fires out here are terrible right now. But the wind is tough, and so we tend to have more grips or, what have you, to make sure things are tied down, held. I get you. The wind is what it is. Nature is a force. We're humans. We can only do what we can do.
It's it can be crazy. I'm wondering if you have any tips for, maybe somebody that's wanting to get into production.
Marry rich and think again. Sorry. If a person really wants to make art or a movie or be on the team, you can. That's the beauty of this business, I believe. And I would say just keep showing up. I can't believe I am where I am. I feel so blessed. And all I did was show up every day, say yes and how high, and do the best I could do. So it's interesting. I think I'm of a different generation though, because I don't know that always happens much anymore. The yes and how high part. I feel like sometimes for me, there's a little bit of pushback from the younger generation. So maybe I also will say, it's okay not to know everything. It's okay that you have a thought and the person who hired you wants you to do it a different way. It's okay. Just do what they're asking and just do a great job. And I don't know, make your dream. You can make your dream. It's so possible, but you gotta hustle. It's not going to happen if you're just sitting back waiting for it to come to you. Gotta hustle.
That is so true. I had Dylan, my son. can't believe this, but he is like 17 years old now.
Oh God.
I know.
Love it.
So he was volunteering on a film, and I was just telling him, hey, while you're there, I think the best thing that you can do is notice that someone needs help. Don't be the people that are standing along on the side chit-chatting and being like, well, they didn't ask me to do anything.
Right.
Be the person that's like, oh, it looks like they're struggling to move that, or, oh, I heard them say they are going to need, we're going to be turning around, so we're going to have to start, like, be the person that's right there saying, hi, can I take that? Can I hold this for you? Would you like me to do something? Like, can I help?
That
And
will go so far. That will take a person so far.
yeah,
Honestly.
just
Team
being
play.
like aware of what's happening around you.
Absolutely. And it's a collaborative, as much as producers are the producers and they're pushing for that vision. We can't do that without everyone. It is about team play. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So I noticed on your IMDb that you're in the Producers Guild of, I think it's of America, right? PGA.
Yeah.
And you're also in the Directors Guild.
Mm-hmm.
So are you interested in doing or have you done some directing that?
UPMs are in the Directors Guild.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that, for me, I've always had to climb the ladder. Nothing was really ever handed to me. So I had to put in my days. I had to submit to be approved. They had to approve me. So that was a huge freaking cherry on top for me. That happened last year. I was really grateful.
Oh, wow.
Did I ever think
congratulations. I was just curious because I wasn't sure. Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that that was like the place for UPMs to, like,
Yeah, absolutely. And the AD department is in the Directors Guild as well. So first ADs, second ADs, second seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just feel so honored. And then what did Woody Allen say? Do I want to be part of a society that wants me as a member or something like that? But it's great. I'm really flattered. The Producers Guild, Fred Barron was an executive at 20th Century Fox. I think he's at Apple now. Huge mentor for me. He got me in the Producers Guild when I was an APOC, I think. And I've been in for a number of years. That's such a great guild. They have programs, they have pitch sessions, they've got all these talks with other producers about what it takes for them to have made their movie. It's really, if people aren't in the Producers Guild right now who can or are interested in that, I would say join. It is such a beautiful place to be, to really lift yourself up.
I know, like, there's a conference that happens somewhere I've seen.
It's in June. Yeah.
What is it?
There's one in June. I think it's in
June.
Yeah.
That's not soon.
Yeah.
And is, like, for the Producers Guild, I know, like, some of the guilds you have to have like X number of hours on a SAG set or something before you can join. Do you know?
I don't. I know on the I don't know what the application process is now, but I imagine they still need a current member to to sign you and get you in.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. When I joined, I had to send in my resume and things like that, but I think they're very welcoming to members. So I don't know. I can't answer that one. Sorry, but
well, it's one of those things where if there's such a good educational organization, it'd be great if you could, like, join or be like a junior member or something.
Yeah, I think that's how I got in. Associate counsel or something, lower level. But because working in the office as a coordinator, your days don't count towards the DGA, which I wish they did, but they do count towards the Producers Guild, which is ultimately where most coordinators are headed, because coordinating is producing.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's very cool. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk to you about, like, work-life balance.
Okay.
Because it's such a crazy industry to work in, and I know you have a few adorable pups that you hike with and stuff, and I think, I don't want to overspeak, but I think you have a significant other in your life that you also have to consider when you're, taking jobs. And
I think I'm shit at work-life balance, to be honest. When I work, I work. I never had kids. And it wasn't that I didn't want to have kids. I just couldn't figure out how to have that 60 to 75-hour work week, pay my rent, make my car payment, and have a family. I just I couldn't get there. Now maybe, yes, I have better work-life balance because I recognize time is so fleeting, and all of a sudden I'm, pushing 50, and it's like, can I sustain myself? A lot of film people work hard, play hard, and I definitely had that in my 30s for sure. Work 60, 75 hours a week, go out with your friends, rock concerts, drink wine, have a good, work hard, play hard. But now, yes, I am endeavoring to make time to go to the gym, recognize that my job doesn't have to be 24/7. There are boundaries. I'm much better at having boundaries. I think that's important. Because old school thinking when I started was, you've got a job, it owns you, that you're committed. So I'm working on that balance, I don't know.
I know there's not much you can do when you're right in the middle of production and you've got whatever it is, a couple weeks of just filming,
and this, I'm so blessed for what I do, but I'm very much responsible for people's payroll, and that's how people pay their mortgage, take care of their children, so if whatever, all the reports we do or what have you, I feel like producers and UPMs and line producers really are there to make sure the team that is below the line, making the movie, are supported. Because without, again, team play, you can't make a movie without all your departments showing up and being happy. Oh my God.
Well, I was just looking at, all of the projects you've got going on, because you've got like 6 different shows that are in some level of development. Then you've got those 2 that are in post, including the one that I think it's going to be coming out soon, I hope. And then
$1. Oh my gosh, go see Dead for $1. Walter Hill. I got paid to take a master class in movie making, working with Walter Hill, Lloyd Ahern, and Alan Graff. That was a blessing, I will say. I can't wait. It's supposed to come out sometime this summer, I think. Go see it.
That's so great. Yeah, I was like checking through your Instagram, and you had some really fun pictures from like on set and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah.
A lot of projects are always in a state of movement, whether it's crawling forward or fully greenlit and running. So a lot of the stuff maybe you see, maybe they're waiting on funding, maybe they're waiting on casting, and that's why you see so many projects. When I'm in production, I can only do one show in production for where I'm at in my life right now. If I was like the EVP of production at Disney, then of course there's however many projects they have in the working that they're overseeing. But to be a line producer, UPM, I can only do one at a time. So technically I've got one job at a time.
But then it's like we're in this field where you have this job and you're like, oh, I'm so happy, I'm grateful, I've got this job. And then that job ends, and all of a sudden you're sort of jobless until
And it's like, did that job even happen? Because like the thousands of emails I'd get, the thousands of texts, I really hate texting, but that's what we do now as people. All these texts, all these phone calls, and then I get wrapped, and then nothing.
It's like, go take a hike with the dogs.
It's
try not to stress out.
It's a hard come down because we were ramped up so long to then have nothing, like you say. It's almost like, was that a dream? Did that really happen?
It would have been my dream to be on the shoot with all the horses. Oh,
so
that.
Beautiful.
That was amazing. So I noticed that you've done some TV. You seem like you do more film. And so I'm just kind of wondering, what is the difference to you between doing the, UPM job for like TV or film?
I haven't been asked to a lot of TV. I am on a TV pilot right now for HBO Max. But it's a pilot, so it's only 7 days. When I've done television in the past, it's almost like you've got a bunch of movies at the same time. So you're prepping an episode, shooting an episode, wrapping an episode. So you've got 3 movies happening in the same time. A feature is 1 movie. So you're either prepping, shooting, or wrapping. I think that is the difference. Television, to me, is harder because of all those moving pieces. But then once the show, once the machine gets running, then it's just a matter of staying on top of things, I'd want to.
Plus it's probably interesting because like the pilot is, I'm sure, different than, and it's almost crazy to me that you're like, you just got, you're shopping the pilot right now, right? Or not shopping it, but just shooting the pilot.
We're prepping it,
because it seems like lately everything is, straight to like series, or they're gonna do. They already know they're gonna pick it up for like 2 seasons, but each season's only gonna have 10 episodes or something.
Right. Well, I think, I guess it just depends, right? There's never one way to get there. On this one, they're creating the pilot so that it can be, I imagine, audience tested, and the executives to approve it at the studio to make sure they want to go to series with it. I imagine there's a lot of questions in there, such as, is it fiscally going to make the money we want? Is there a balance between what it costs to make and the return? I imagine that's a lot of it.
Well, and upfronts are coming up too, right? I don't actually know when they are. I thought they were in June.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, the upfronts. Well, it used to be when everybody would like shoot their pilots or like shop their shows to the advertisers.
Okay.
So that like if you were on the CW, like, hey, here are the shows we're thinking about. Would you want to advertise on these shows? And so it like the advertising dollars kind of drove which shows really got the full run or whatever.
There you go.
Now I don't know what's happening.
That's probably it.
And everything.
Yeah. Streaming fascinates me, honestly. The demand for content fascinates me. I don't know that I can ingest that much content, but that's out there. I can never, people will mention a show and I'm like, oh my God, can I add that to my list? Will I ever get there? You know what I mean? But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I remember there used to be pilot season. I don't believe there's pilot season.
I mean, I think there is like a very small one, but yeah, it used to be like, oh, you have to live in LA so you can be here for pilot season and everything. But now, I mean, the auditions just kind of roll in all the time. So.
I think there's more opportunity now for all kinds of talent, and anyway, I think it's awesome. But I mean, when I started in the business, which I'm not like the pioneer of, but it was, late 90s, there was a limit. There were 4 channels, unless there were movies, and there was only so many spots, and women were kind of still are, secretary, waitress, mom, but it's really diversifying. And there's so many more shows that are just female driven. It's just incredible to me what's happening. Fascinating.
Yeah. I know I'm trying to keep up with it, but I don't know what's going on from with the streamers. Like I heard now Netflix is not going to be ordering quite so many. I mean, who knows what's happening. But I wanted to ask you, so how we know each other is we were going to be working together on a film that I still hope someday gets made.
I want to make a film.
But I know that you care. We talked a little bit about Rust. I know you care also about making a difference and working on projects that are like helping the world be a better place. So I just wondered, what are the things that pique your interest as far as.
Interesting. That's an interesting question, and it's kind of very timely. I've been looking for more civic volunteering. Mm-hmm. So I'm now trying to get involved with, it's called Film Prize Junior New Mexico. It's with the Prize Foundation. They have a bunch of prizes. You as a filmmaker can submit your film and then get like $10,000 or $50,000 if you win. It's really pretty incredible. So Film Prize Junior New Mexico, they go to junior high and high school. They teach kids how to prep and shoot their movie on their iPhone or however they want to shoot it and whatever they edit it on. And literally they just had this competition and it was incredible. Kids came from all over New Mexico, busloads from all over the state to see their movie on a screen. And the public votes. There's a website. You go to Film Prize Junior New Mexico. You watch all the shorts, and then you vote 1, 2, 3. What's your favorite? And these kids are encouraged to make art. They're encouraged to have a trade. Filmmaking is a trade. I don't know that they do that in schools anymore, where they had taught home ec and shop, things I used to do, because it was a trade driven lifestyle, which maybe we'll go back to, but it's so incredible. So I've been looking for more civic opportunities like that. And I just met with Santa Fe Community College. I might teach a class or be a guest lecturer in the fall, to, teach, people who are ever taking these classes, like how to break a script, why money only goes so far and what you need to budget for to get there, or how you're going to beg, borrow, and steal to get there when you only have 50 grand and you're like, oh Lord, what am I going to do? How am I going to get there? I have $200 and I want to make my short. How do I make this? So that's
great.
That's what I've been like. So I've been trying to give back to the community. I feel so blessed in my career, and I have been looking to give back. And I really appreciate you asking that question, because it's become very important to me about that. If it's about the projects that I want to make, I'm very grateful for all the projects that call, but I really enjoy romantic comedies of the old school nature, not just dumb jokes and, A to B, but relationships and people. I'm blessed that I get to do a lot of action movies, but I really like how people relate to each other and those funny moments. So that's maybe what I'm in my ideal, maybe my next venture. Maybe I'll write something. Maybe I'll be,
Yeah, you totally should.
maybe, I love to make people laugh. I think there's so much struggle and turmoil in our lives. God bless it. I love dramas. Thank you very much. I need a cathartic experience, but I really want people to laugh and go home after watching 90 minutes and just feel good. That's my ideal.
Me too. I love those like character driven. I mean, they're called like romantic comedies, but it's more than that. It's like
I feel like or something, like character development. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to care. Like it can't. So there's got to be cathartic in a way, or whatever. So
yeah.
Well, boy, we hit on so many things. This is such a great conversation.
Oh my God, you're so sweet. I'm just so flattered to be here. I was like, you want to interview me? Oh my God. Thank you.
Well, I knew you were going to have a lot of great, you've got great experience. You have this beautiful attitude. And I think that, people need to hear, what it's like on set and how to work. I mean, you've just been able to really navigate, a tricky career, and you're still going. You've got lots of great opportunities. I mean, I cannot wait. Like, I know you work really hard, and I'm glad it's paying off.
So many people say I have a career. I'm like, I have a career? Because most of the time I was just like trying to pay my rent. Honestly, when I was working in LA, people would look at my resume and say, you're all over the place. And I'm like, I'm not all over the place. I have rent to pay. I have a car. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to survive. So if a job's going to come and I can do it, I'm going to do it, So anyway.
How has it been for you going back and forth between, New Mexico and LA?
I've loved it. I feel like I've opened up an avenue, like you said, of work-life balance. New Mexico and being in one spot allows me to sleep in my own bed and pee in my own shower. You know what I mean? Like, I get to be here. LA was amazing in that it traveled me, and I worked with all kinds of people, and it taught me all the different ways to relate to people and how movies are made. There is no one way to make a movie. When I got to watch people make movies in like in Europe or in Canada or what have you, their style of personality, work ethic, importance of the day is so different than ours. What have I experienced? Same with working in Atlanta or New Mexico or LA. Like, I think LA afforded me an education on set of how to do what I do. And I think New Mexico has allowed me to utilize my skills, get into the DGA, and also have 3 dogs and a boyfriend. You know what I mean?
Is the film market pretty busy in New Mexico? It seems like I feel like you're working in New Mexico as much or more than LA lately, anyway.
It's slamming. It is really busy out here, and And it being in the DGA, since I just joined, I have to work third area, which means I can't work in LA or New York until I have so many days. And that's, I think, why a lot of people used to travel, because it, makes you a better UPM. You get on the road and you have to manage all different kinds of people. So being here has really behooved my career. I have a career. It's funny.
There you go. Yeah, I can imagine too, like, because there's been like more Westerns and, the nice thing about being in the desert is it doesn't show like the scars of time as much, like, what I mean? Like, it doesn't change so much, like the landscape and stuff. We always want that.
It's a blessing. And also it's the rebate, to be honest. If the flight from LA to Albuquerque is an hour and a half. If you drive, it's 12 hours. People can come work here and go home on the weekend and see their husband, their wife, their children, and have a job and still have family life. So going to digress here for a minute. When my dad passed away in 2013, at that time, when I was my parents lived in Iowa, or my mom still does. Iowa was looking for a film commissioner. They have a great one. She's lovely. Liz Gilman, amazing woman. But I really wanted that job. And that I wanted to help filmmakers, make more movies. And it's so funny how when you want something, it comes in a different way, because now being here in New Mexico and in LA, I get to do that anyway. You know what I mean? It didn't have to come the way I really thought it needed to. It came in a whole different avenue, but it still got it.
Well, that's fantastic. And boy, being in New Mexico, like I was looking at, getting my LLC taken care of, and it's like $800 a year in California, but like New Mexico, it's like
$50.
Yeah,
$150. It's nothing. It's nothing. I think it's great. It's great. There's so much here. It's an industry that can create such a workforce. New Mexico is not one of the wealthier states in the nation, so it's so great that people can have a trade and have a union and a pension, and set rates. And it's I don't know. It's great out here. I have nothing but great things to say about New Mexico.
Shout out to New Mexico.
Shout out.
I visited a bunch. I love it there. It's so beautiful.
Well, come to Santa Fe. It's awesome here. Come visit me.
Yeah, gosh, I have been to Santa Fe, but it's been a long time. But yeah, I need to get there again. Well, this was such a great conversation. I don't know if you want to share how people could reach you.
Oh my gosh. I have Instagram, but I don't do anything but post my dogs. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Is that sad? At least, I don't know. But I have LinkedIn. I mean, oh my gosh, that's totally. And you know what? People make fun of me for my LinkedIn. I get so much work off of LinkedIn. I get so you can find me there.
Yeah, that's, I honestly only recently started being active on LinkedIn and messaging people, and like people actually respond to you through LinkedIn. It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. Those are my things. I wish I was better at social media, but I'm just not that interesting. I don't take. It's my dogs. That's it.
No, it's great. I love it. I mean, you're being your true self. That was great. I don't know if you saw, but Bex just, our producer, just streamed your like Instagram across the bottom of the.
This is amazing. I'm so grateful for your podcast, what you're doing and highlighting, and how you're lifting people up. You're inspiring people. You inspire me, and I'm grateful.
Well, thank you. I got the idea back when I used to write a column for Ms. in the Biz, which is there. It's still an active website. You can go read old articles. But I just started talking to more and more people. And a long time ago, I thought I wanted to be a journalist, So I find it so interesting when you just listen. Like, people have such amazing stories, and nobody has the same journey. Like how you got to where you are is completely different than another UPM, or it's so amazing.
I don't know how I got here. I told you I'm fascinated that people. I'm grateful. I'm grateful always.
Well, thanks so much for being on the show. If anybody wants to, keep in touch with Tara, we'll post her Instagram, and maybe her LinkedIn and stuff in the show notes. But boy, I'm just so grateful for you. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you very much. We are going to make your goddamn movie. Away.
I'm still plugging away, you know, one step at a time.
I would love it. Well, your movie, I know we're wrapping it up, but I want to just pitch your movie about gun control. And it's funny. And it's all the things I talked about, and that it's inspiring. It gives laughs. It has a message. You know, there's a relationship. We're going to make that goddamn movie, lady. It's happening.
I hope so. Well, I was just working on a project for the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge that's an action film. And so I'm going to be using some footage from that as like a proof of concept. And so I'm taking, one step at a time towards getting that thing locked down. So Thank you for your support. I appreciate you.
I think you're awesome. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's our show. Bex, if you want to roll our end credits.
Well, that's our show. We hope you loved it. If you did, make sure you're subscribed, tell your friends about it, and why not write us a review? If you know someone that would make a great guest on our show, drop us a line. You can find us on Instagram at Thunder Tally, or go to our website, thundertallymedia.com. This show was produced by Bex Francis, edited by me, Erin Neumeyer. The music was performed and written by Dylan Neumeyer. And our sponsor is Filmcraft LA, so make sure you go check them out. This has been a Thunder Tally Media production.